Okay, guys and gals, we're going to do a quick little review on what's happening with GMVD. This was back from February the 9th. And so let's see. I'm on Thinkorswim and I'm doing a replay at the time 12:15. So this was a time of interest. So I want to see what kind of orders, what's coming in around this 12:15, 12:16 candle. 12:17 there was a bit of a doji, and then the chart continued to move its way up, and then it retraced, or I guess it came up here and then retraced, and that was a decent point for entry. But I want to see why the chart retraced to this area, what happened over here to make it retrace to that area. So I'm just kind of waiting to see what's going to come down the order flow, and then I will kind of show you what else I was interested in. But Thinkorswim is funny. Some of the times the information comes through fairly quickly and consistently, and then other times like this, there appears to be no action on the chart. But you know that orders have to be coming through, or are they? Maybe it's not. Maybe there's just nothing coming through. But I have other inconsistencies with using the on-demand portion of Thinkorswim, so that's what leads me to believe this. But maybe it's just very dead right now, and if so, that would be, to me, a fairly good indication, because I typically see stock moving up from places of very low activity. So I just put low activity here. Okay, so now activity is starting to come in. Some orders are starting to move into the chart. Just waiting a little bit. Okay, so there's GMVD. GMVD. Still nothing over there. Let's see if we can 19. 23 days back. Says default. So we can see what's going on both of them, more or less. All right, why is that? It's not cooperating. Okay. All right, so the time point that we're looking at here was 12:15. So we're considering this this drop here, and then we're looking to see how this moves up. Actually, it bounces twice, and then that's the point where we're interested in, that time frame. Is that right? Let's see. I'll get better at this, guys. I'll get better at this. This is, and again, I am not a financial advisor or anything like that. I'm just working on studying and understanding the market and equities. But I will get better and better at this. So you can follow me along through the process and the progress if you want to. Otherwise, you don't have to. This is really for me. This is for reflection for me, so I can go back and look and see what I've done in the way of studying and make things make sense. All right, so this is not right though. This is not supposed to automatically plot. Okay. All right, this is supposed to be, that's supposed to be, yeah, see, Thinkorswim back here is not doing what it's supposed to. Okay, so the stock really did rest or completely do nothing during this 12:17 candle, and then it sure enough started moving Wait a minute. What's going on here? 1217 to 1222. 1216, 1217. All right. 12 there. Surely there had to be some orders between 1217 and 1222. All right. So I'm going to go back to TradeStation and see what they have on their screen, because I don't believe that there's no orders, that nothing happened. It wasn't like it wasn't a halt or anything like that. 1216. Huh. What? 1216, 1217. 16 and 17. This doesn't make any sense. Am I on the right day? 1-9. And this is 1-9. Ah, what are you doing? Do. Nah, this isn't even the same. What is this? Oh, I'm back over here. What? How did I get over here? Okay. How did I get over there? And then call myself thinking it was the same time? Man, I am losing it today. Did not get the right amount of coffee or something. Something's going on. All right, that's clearly a 14. Clearly a 14. Oh my God. All right, so 12, 12, 16, 12, 17, 12, 18, 12, 16, 17, 18, 12. What? 17 to 22. And this one goes 17, 18 to 22. Okay, well maybe it was. Maybe there was a halt. Halt to the upside. And see, that's the thing that you can't discern when you're just looking at a chart, unless you go through and you actually look at each minute. And I don't know, maybe I can figure out how to make an indicator to indicate whether or not there's been a time gap, or at the bare minimum. Let's see, this is, I don't know what defines a halt. If it's, I know there's a certain percentage move in a certain amount of time. Well, let's see, this was how much of a percent move? This was a 13% move. So maybe make an indicator to show a 13% or 15 or 10% move in a certain amount of time. But when you just kind of back out and you look at a chart and you're not able to account for the fact that there was a halt here, because sometimes it looks like a halt because you have like dashes, or like here, that looks like halt type material. That gap there looks like halt material, right? So you're going from 32, if you look at the bottom of the screen, you're going from 1032 to 1042. All right, and then on this candle, you're going from 1048, and it does go from 1049, but this candle is a 1054 candle, right? So 49 to 54. So, but I mean, this kind of volatility in a stock like this is what halts are made out of. I mean, it's really what halts are made out of. It's where you can make a lot of money. It's where you can lose a lot of money. But that's why this stock came back down to this specific area, this specific point here, is because there was a halt here. So it's kind of like the gap and go type stuff that they talk about, where the stock moves up, it gaps over this area, and then it could just go, or it can kind of gap over the area, move, and then come back and what they call fill, gap and fill, come back to the area and like retest it and then move up. So it looks like that's what it did, kind of like that gap and fill type deal. But yeah, if I'd have realized that, I probably wouldn't have spent that much time looking at this chart. However, one of the things I did notice just kind of looking at this chart and some other charts was the relationship of the 15 and the 25 moving average. So the 15 moving average is this yellow line here, and then the 25 moving average is this other line. I got to change my colors. I actually just changed to a white background here and a black background here. I can see these reds and greens better over here. I can definitely see these reds and greens better with this black background. So I have a white background over here, black background over here. So now I can probably trade more in Thinkorswim, whereas I was actually making a transition to TradeStation because they have the black background and I can see this distinction better of these colors. So now I've got two platforms that I'm actually doing okay in terms of navigating through the platforms and being able to work with the coding and that kind of thing. On TradeStation it's easy language, and on Thinkorswim it's ThinkScript. So I've made these codes, and this indicator here, e.g. convergence, divergence, it's not a histogram, but it's just kind of showing the crossover between the 15 and 25 moving average, which, like I say, I'm seeing a little bit of useful information here. So when the 15 crossed over the, here we go. When the here the 15 is over the 25 moving average, and here it drops below it, and as the 15 starts coming back above the 25 moving average, it gives us these indicators. It gives us these arrows that indicate that there's a crossover about to happen. And I've seen, and like I said, in multiple charts, that this is a good indication that there's at least going to be somewhat of a move in the chart. And so far, it's looking like I'm seeing something around 1 to 1.5 or 1 to 2, 1 to 1.5 risk to reward on that specific trade. Now I'm also noticing, and I've got to make an indicator. Wait a minute, I think I made an indicator on TradeStation. Did I? I was making an indicator. See GMVD. Yeah, I was making an indicator that showed that the 6 moving average was crossing over the 50 moving average. Yeah. So, but where's my indicator at? 6 moving. Okay, so. And that's the thing with working with 2 different platforms. You got all this stuff going on. But I'll decide which one I like at some point. Okay, so here. See, moving average crossover. What's wrong with that? Okay, no, I used this one. Volume. I use one that they already had in place. Okay, so I'm going to change that to like a dark blue. No, I wanted this one to be light blue. I wanted the other crossover to be dark blue. The exponential moving average crossover to be green? No, dark blue. Okay. All right, so this here, the 15 moving average crossing over the 25 moving average. There's a dark blue arrow, and then it hasn't done it yet again until it's about to do it up here. So we should get a dark blue arrow in here somewhere. But these light blue arrows where the, oh, here we go. We ought to see a dark blue arrow in this area as the 15 starts moving over the 25 moving average. But I'm also curious of when, as far as the volume, the amount of volume, the 6 moving average crosses over the 50 moving average. And when it crosses over, we get these arrows, letting us know that there's a potential for new activity. Okay, so let's fast forward through this bad boy. Like I said, I'm not going to sit there and go through that because that was a gap action. Specifically, what I was looking for was there to be a certain amount of ask or a certain volume of large share orders to come through to signify that larger money was coming into the equation. Now, where is my blue arrow at? Oh, well, maybe it hasn't given the indication just yet. Up in here. Yeah, there we go. Right there. Okay, so, and even that, I mean, this isn't a strong place for an entry, clearly, because it just dropped right back down to that potential entry area. There we go. So the volume crossover and then the moving average crossover. But if you wait it here, I don't like how this isn't that big. Let's see. Let's get rid of some ratio plot. Let's get rid of this one. Volume average, I like that one. Histogram, like that one. Spread wizard, we can get rid of that one for the time. Oh, the tops and the bottoms, I'm not really using that. Again, I'm still playing with a lot of different indicators to see what I like, what I don't like. So, don't talk about how messy my charts are. All right. So what I'm looking at is, I have to keep remembering to erase these drawings on here. Okay, so what I'm looking at here is this moving average crossing here as it did there for volume, and then this crossover here, which is the 15 moving over the 25 moving average. Okay, so that happened, and that happened there. So is that a good place for entry? I mean, if you get in here, did you really get in too late? Because there's, not much. This is your risk. This is your reward. That's a 1-to-1. I don't know. Or you could have considered this to be significant too. So this was a tricky one, but since it was coming after that that gap there, you might have not would have took it. So let's see. Let's move on to the next place. The blue arrows. Blue, is there another blue? Dark blue. No, is that the only one? Okay, we're getting into 1407, but we did say, according to this area over here, where are we at? According to what I've got here, I'm saying that time of interest was shucks. Uh, 12:15 and 14:13, so it's coming on that 14:13 time. All right, so this one might have been the better one. All right, so here at 14:14, we got a huge drop. We have a huge drop, and we don't have the crossover just yet. We don't have the crossover coming in here just yet, but we do have the crossover of the volume. Volume has exceeded the 50 moving average volume, but you can see that this volume is really this moving average is really starting to close in. So, and that gave us about a 1 to 1.5 strategy or scenario there if we were to get in. but I like that this volume was really, really low down here. It's always important. Volume low and the price is just kind of rotating sideways after it's been retracing for quite some time. And then the stock does move up to this crossover range. It's also crossing over the 200 moving average right here as well, which is typically a good indication. Okay. All right. So again, what I'm pretty much saying as far as this goes is, what I'm saying is we want to see low volume, and we want to see the 15 crossing over the 25 moving average. I tend to always like to see the price being greater than the 200 exponential moving average. And I tend to also like to see the price over the VWAP, which I don't even know where it's at on this one. VWAP is right here. This color. It should be blue on my screen, but like I say, since I just about an hour ago transitioned to this different color scheme, I've got to change. I got to change everything. And that should be a solid line. And I wanted width 2. Okay. All right. So there's my VWAP. All right. So, and man, VWAP is moving that much? No, that can't be VWAP. Nah. Yeah, I clicked on the wrong one. It's the 25. Let's say green, yellow. This one should be green. All right. And then VWAP should be blue. Okay. All right. There we go. Yeah, VWAP shouldn't move that much. All right. So the chart actually is it's performing under VWAP, which I typically like for it to be over VWAP, indicating so really over VWAP and over the 200 exponential moving average, indicating a much stronger stock, which this is not. So what it do? This was actually a pullback, and I think it went down. Yeah, looks like it went down. Okay, here's another crossover here of the 15 trying to cross over the 200. Excuse me, the 15 crossing over the 25 moving average. But you see, which to me helps confirm that this is something. This is a strategy that others are employing, and that could work. But obviously, there's got to be other factors to always make it work, or to consistently make it a great strategy. But look, see that high volume coming there? That means that other people saw this as a good area to enter as well. Now it failed, miserably. That would have been your stop loss. It failed, but that doesn't mean that folks aren't seeing this as a good opportunity to get in. And like I say, just because it doesn't work this time doesn't mean that that smart money didn't. And so this really is what I've been looking at in terms of this specific strategy. So what I'm looking at as far as this specific strategy would be a kind of a hard drop, typically with high volume, and then the price moving over slightly up, and then you have a crossover. Okay, so over here, we had the hard drop, kind of moved over, but we didn't have the volume crossover, and we didn't have the moving average crossover. Here we have the hard drop. We do have the large volume, which is good, and it's approaching that area, which is good. We have the volume trying to approach a crossover, which is good. It did it here, but we also have this moving average crossover. So that all checks out. Check, check, check. All right, but now we come on over to here. Same thing. We've got this hard drop, decent volume, kind of a move up and approach. The problem though is that the price, the 15 moving average had not been under 25 for any appreciable amount of time. Actually, it's over it here. Okay, so I think that maybe nullifies it. And so even though they kind of twist in here and it registers as a move of the, oh, here we go. 15, it does drop under it a little bit here, but it's not under it for, it's not appreciably under it. It's just barely, look how narrow that is. It's just barely under it. And so that even though there is a crossover and we have an increased amount of volume, this either is a fake out or it was an opportunity to get in, and everybody else saw it too. A lot of volume there, that green bar, a lot of volume. Everybody else saw it too, and the larger money said, yeah, well, we're not going to move it up just yet because too many people are going to get a piece of this pie. And so it failed. Okay, but I think that's going to be one of my, that's going to be a strategy that I continue to explore. So I'm going to jot that one down, and then I will continue to explore that on other charts. All right, so too bad I don't have a keyboard on here. Okay, so 1 over VWAP up. 2, even though this one isn't, and that's why I think it's not as strong. All right, but 2 should be over 200 EMA. 3, 15 EMA under 25 EMA for a crossover. 4, 6 volume moving average crossing over 50 volume moving average. All right, and then 5 have had recent high volume bearish move that held. And what I mean by that held is like here, the there was a hard drop, but it held the level. It didn't go down. Here we got a bearish drop, but it broke below the level before moving up, right? Here we got a bearish move. It held the level here. It did break it there, so that's what I say. That this one wasn't necessarily a great trade. We might have got one good trade on this chart today, on this specific day. But again, there was a lot of volatility in here. Gaps up, gaps down, and you always have to be careful with these specific charts. So, and all charts aren't good charts to trade, but I do try to look at just about every chart. And I think that's also my problem though, is I get involved into too many charts, and they all have different moves and mechanisms of action. Their performances are different, and so I'm comparing apples to oranges. Nonetheless, this is what I came up with today. All right. Hope you got something out of this. If you did, hit a thumbs up. If you didn't, hit a thumbs up and make a suggestion for some improvements. I'm all ears when I'm not on here. Okay. All right. This is Eric. I'm out. Peace.